Hi everyone, and welcome to my Patreon. I hope that you enjoy the videos and whatnot that I am going to be doing on here. Please make sure that you also follow my YouTube channel, The Psychic Sleuth, and my TikTok. So this was done today on 4/20/22. This is the Ted Bundy series for Patreon. Information can be past, present, or future, symbolic, or have multiple meanings. Spirit will often use my references and experiences in order to explain what they are trying to say. Keep in mind, any kind of months or years is for something specific. I decided all these years not to watch anything on Ted Bundy, to try not to know anything really. I wanted to go in blind. I always wanted to channel him to see if I could. And I don't like to know anything, for those of you that follow me. So he did come through in one of my random auto rates. I think it was the first or second one a few years ago, and during Susan's, because it was in Utah and I was getting interconnects at that time. So it's not the first time I've actually been in communication with him. I actually had a yellow bug during that time, and it would flash in my mind's eye to the old school bugs like he had. Everything that I got in this reading came from him, not from anything else, so keep that in mind. I have integrity, and I channeled him to share with you. I am reading what I typed because I did this reading prior with my group. For those of you who know how I work, this is how I work the deepest. Okay. Viewer discretion is advised. There will be some very strong content for entertainment purposes only. So I started off by getting a headache. He shows me him as a young kid. I see him killing a cat. This was very hard for me to see, as I'm an animal lover, and he's showing me hitting it with the rock. There are other things too, but I want to get away from that. It's not something I want to see. So the cat was black, by the way. Then he shows me a young girl, much younger than him, and at this time he's kind of young. So I was getting anxiety. I see him, I don't know, I hear the words unspeakable things, but I see her left in the woods by a creek. I do know there was strangulation, but I feel he may have also done some sexual things as well. I feel a bit disoriented by his energy. I don't know where the boy comes in, but there is a boy mentioned for some reason. As I'm typing this up, I hear the name Lily, so I have gotten that numerous times over the last few weeks. I even named a goat that over a month ago. So I don't know where it fits or if it fits here. Hopefully it does. He takes me to a time where he is in his late teens, I think. I feel like he always had these urges. They started much younger. I see the age 8, and then he gives me age 13, and then 17. He shows me I get a college feel. Okay, so that first girl that I was seeing, it's like, like a little girl, like 12 or 13 or around that age. Okay, so he shows me I get a college feel. He shows me he's got a crutch and some kind of braces on. He shows me on his foot like a fake cast is what it looks like, or what it reminds me of. It may be something on his arm. There's a girl that's getting in her car. He walks up and asks her for help. She looks how the older style girls looked. Long hair. I think it's possibly blonde. I get brutality. It skips to him beating her severely, and I just see blood. I don't know if she was left somewhere, but I keep seeing a wooded area and a reference to a road. I think he may skip around. Things won't come in order. I don't know if he killed a bunch of random girls, but there I keep seeing him going from rooms to rooms and killing them, and I get the number 5, and I'm still in the college area at this time. He had a type, all beautiful women. It was always something that he liked about them, something that drew him in, plus the opportunity. He keeps showing me a windy road up the mountains. This would be the vision I think it was that I got in random auto-write 1 or 2, but it reminds me, I guess, of Utah. I hear burial ground for my time there. I hear the name Susie, but I'm not sure, and also the name Janice. I also got that name in a random auto write before, or was it Delphi? One of the two. He says, I killed more than they know about. He says 60-something. He says I was evil. I know that. I was mentally unstable. I couldn't stop the urge. He's getting a bit gruesome here. So he shows me decapitation. I also see pedophilia. I don't know if that's what it's called, but where they have, sex after death. All of a sudden, my dog woke up from a nap at this time and started barking and running around the house. She was only the one that did it, so I think that she sensed him, because that would be the only cause. No one else did it. Nothing else was going on. She just woke up from dead sleep and started freaking out. So I was like, alrighty then. He shows me the damn yellow bug, and I think he had a different car prior. An older car. It looks like kind of an old clunker, but I think maybe a shade of blue or something. It had a hatchback, is what he shows. So I don't know how that car makes sense, if it was his or someone else's, but he shows me this little shack kind of in the woods. This place connects to him. I also see him writing stuff down. It reminds me of sort of like a journal. He says, you know, I could never get or understand what really made me tick. I can hear his voice at this time. He said I couldn't stop what I was doing. Not that I didn't want to, is that I couldn't. He mentions a girlfriend. I think she has long reddish hair. You know, I loved her, but not really, because I wasn't capable of love. I always thought one day I would end up killing her. He shows me girl after girl. There's a reference to him being very brutal. I feel that him beating them was always something that he almost, like he took his rage out on them. He says, you know, I helped catch the Green River Killer, which I knew, but I swear he was bragging about it at this time, because I understood how people think. Well, people like me anyway. I would have been an asset, you know, if they would have used me as one, because throughout all the years of killing, I started to understand why I did what I did, why I would put women where I put them, and why I chose who I did. As I'm typing, I can just see him losing it, like, no control when he's killing. So I do know he did like the darker haired woman, but some reason he also shows me blonde one and connects me to Utah, I think, but definitely blonde. I get an M initial, so first, middle, or last, but I want to say Mary, but I'm not sure if that's correct or how it fits. But he says it wasn't hard for me because I was handsome and charming. Women gravitated towards me. It was easy for me to do what I wanted and needed to. He wants to give me the number 6 and connect it to Utah. I think there may have been more, but possibly at least 6. It can be a month as well, but I feel he had a place up this windy road when he would put possible body parts or bodies, because he showed me digging in the dirt as well at this time. He says these killers of today, they're different breed than I was. I knew one day I would be caught, and I knew one day I would be famous. I was okay with that. I knew I couldn't go on doing what I did. And I see him reading a book and being very articulate. He's very smart as well. In a way he planned, but sometimes not so much. But still he's saying he knew how to get away with it. I don't know if he was ever in Oregon, but there is a connection to there for some reason. I also don't know where the nurse comes in, but that also I think came in either in Otterite or Delphi. He says if they could have only studied me, they would have learned so much knowledge about people like me and why we do what we do. In turn, they would have learned more about our habits. And I was like, oh my gosh, he didn't. But at this time, he said, I never would have killed you. You're not my type. Thank you, I guess. He did have a specific type he stuck to, I believe, always beautiful. Something in their facial features being similar. I feel he did favor darker hair, but I also see blondes in the mix. So I don't know if anyone knows about this one, but he shows me that there was a woman he did take back to his place, because he shows me him taking her back there. He normally didn't do that, I don't think. That is why this one we may not know. I'm not sure who or when. Get the name Christy, but I'm not sure how it fits. I obviously feel he killed her. This feels like it was in Utah, so he says, I was so smart, you know, I escaped twice. They couldn't keep me in prison a few times, and I hear sirens from the prison at that time, you know, the ones when someone escapes. And I see him go out the window or something, and I hear dogs barking, so I don't know if they took the dogs to track him or what, but I heard, like, you know, how they have the dogs that they take back in the old school when they showed those movies. But I see that. He says the word beheaded, like he did this more than once, maybe, but I see heads separate from bodies. He shows me him digging to bury it, but the area seems to have rocks around it. I also hear the words National Forest, so I don't know if he had any there, but I also hear the words Yellowstone. I also see a woman on the side of the road needing help. He says I helped her, all right. He says some I didn't care if they were found, others I did. He says I always like to mix it up. I needed the cops to know that I was active, but I didn't want everyone found. I still keep getting this burial site, but I feel there is more than one. He says the word California, so I don't know if he was ever active there. As I'm typing, I want to go all the way up Washington, down Oregon, into California. I get 2 locations for burial, National Forest and possibly up this windy road, you know, that goes up the mountain. That reminds me of Utah. So I don't know, he shows me taking a rock and beating someone's head in, I'm not sure who. He says, I was one of a kind. There has not been anyone else like me. I don't know why he keeps showing me California or what the connection is there. Also, I see the ocean. I hear the words five states. He says some of what I'm telling you no one really knows about. I see him driving in his bug, so I don't know if he had a kit, but he shows me a murder kit in the trunk, like under where maybe you put a tire, has knives and stuff. I hear the word hatchet. Looking back, I was a sick man, and I well, you said it best, had balls of steel. So prior to the reading, I said no one else has attempted this, but I said I had balls of steel. This really isn't the way that I talk. So I feel like it was him already coming through. So I think he was one that put that in my head and is now saying that to verify. I can hear his voice in kind of low, creepy, kind of soft. I don't know how to explain it. Also, when he shows me Utah in the mountains where the windy road is, there is a red tint to it. I don't know where the bat comes in, but I see a bat being swung, so that's kind of weird. I also see him kind of going crazy with his fist, and there's blood all over him. I see him wash in a creek one time. I see missing persons posters, like he just showed me like a bunch of them. He says in the 60s or so, I don't know if that has to do with a year or numbers, because it came in a couple times. I don't put it as year, but I also want to put it in amount killed. He keeps talking about how we don't know because I see a hitchhiker woman. I think he's on his way to somewhere. She's got red hair and red freckles that go across her nose. Hair's kind of short. I hear the word Adrian. I'm not really sure how that fits. Sometimes I get interconnected random things. So, but her hair is short. And any names can be first, middle, or last. But he says, not my normal type, but good enough. She was out there all vulnerable and all alone. I had to take the opportunity. I heard that part as I'm typing. I see him pull over and pick her up. I hear her left in a ditch. So no idea why he's showing me. I don't know if she was ever found or what, but no idea why he's showing me a random blue couch. But okay. So chest is starting to hurt. I asked my team member if he was killed in the electric chair because I kept seeing the chair with straps. He talks about hearing voices. I don't know if that has ever been out before, but he says I heard voices, sometimes anyway. I never told anyone. I think most killers like us do. There's always some form of illness that we suffer from, where we can't stop what we do. I was kind of glad that when they caught me, he shows me handcuffs and him in an orange jumpsuit, which it may not be orange, but that's how I see people in jail. He says, when they caught me and kept me in, I was kind of happy. I had the urges, but it did start to weigh on me all of the lives I took. I don't know why my teeth hurt at this time, but they hurt and there's a reference to them. He also talks about pressure hurt. He talks about mental illness. He keeps showing me a chair and straps. There was something about, in the end, talking about God and forgiveness or something to that effect. He shows me him holding a Bible. So, after the reading, someone looked that up, and he actually did do that. So this was prior to passing, but he is the only one that can forgive me for the horrible things I have done, and I did some horrible things. I see him standing looking in the mirror with blood on his face and wiping it with a towel. What's weird is it looks like a motel room. I hear the word cadence. I'm not really sure what that means or how it fits. He is kind of fading out at this time, but I kept pulling him back. He talks about a spree, a time where he killed a lot in a short time span, and also takes me back to the college that he did before, like he told me 5 victims. I also hear the year 1979, not really sure why, but afterwards I found out that he killed 3 and wounded 2 at a dorm, and that's when he was caught in 1979. So that was mind-blowing to me because I had no idea about that. Like I said, I don't know anything about Ted, any of the years, nothing. So that was pretty validating for me. There is this girl that I keep seeing. She's got long blonde hair. It kind of curls at the end. It has a very pretty face. How they look during those times. Her nose is tiny, pointy, but in a cute way. She has a dimple when she smiles, I think. She's standing there smiling. I don't know who she is. He says when I saw her smile, I just knew I had to wipe it out. So, as I'm typing, I see her bending over picking up books, and she looks up and smiles, kind of throws her hair back. He says, just being brutally honest here, that's one thing I was most of the time. Sure, I manipulated the police and whatnot, but I was honest most of the time. There is something I couldn't. This was something I couldn't stop, no matter how hard I tried. I was wired differently. At this time, my teammate called him a CS, and he said, "Why, thank you." He says, "I don't think people understand how this works. The urge is like there. The urge is there, like the devil is pulling you, like the demons take control of you. It's an addiction." My team member asked if he was gay. He winked. He was just being. He was or is kind of a sarcastic ass at times. He says, I always wanted to connect to one of you medium types, but everyone is afraid. He says, I've been tugging at you for some time, which is true because of the other times he came through, like I mentioned. That's why I came into readings. They all talk about you over there. Now, this was kind of an odd thing to say, but okay. Everyone knows I like to talk. I can't tell if he's in the lower astrals or he crossed. I kept seeing darkness around him, so I'm guessing lower astrals. So I don't know why he kept talking about Yellowstone, though. He brought it up. That was the second time he brought it up. Then my team member said that they think he did something in Yellowstone. He is confirming, as he has mentioned it twice. He says, I don't condone what I did. I know I was a monster, but I was one of those things. Unless it's you don't understand. Their urges are so strong, the mental instability, you do anything to make it stop. He talked about Yellowstone twice, so he wants to again confirm that. Also, the hitchhiker, I don't know if she was found or anyone knows. It was him. He says, I can only atone for my sins and say that I was sorry for what I did to people and their families. People will never understand it, and that's okay. They weren't in my brain. I'm going to go for now. I hope we speak again. So, it is possible he's in the lower astrals because he feels he deserves it. Alright, that's it for the first reading. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't. You follow me on TikTok, and again, there'll be more going on Patreon, so make sure you do everything you need to do there. I'll see you next time.